Welcome to the Voiceover Gurus podcast. Real talk about the voiceover industry. I'm Brian Lee, and I never have time to be on this show, so at least I'm doing the intro.
Hello again. This is the Voiceover Gurus podcast. I'm your
Hello again.
hostess, Linda Bruno, with
JJ Wilson.
Hello, JJ Wilson.
So you're a Twinkie.
I'm a hostess Twinkie. Oh, remember Twinkies? You know, I was looking at Pinterest the other day because I like to bake, and there's a Twinkie cake that I want to try and make.
Oh.
That all rhymed. Bake, cake, make.
Twinkie and Twinkie. You know what Twinkie rhymes with?
Dinky
Winky.
and stinky.
Okay, let's just do rhymes today.
It's one of those days.
There was a lady from Boston, Mass. who stood in water up to her knees. I'll tell you the rest of the story when the tide comes in. Okay.
All right, so welcome back. This is the Voiceover Gurus
back
podcast.
To the
where
voiceover.guru.
We keep it real, like as you can tell by our intro. Although the fancy intro should have started this podcast. So
I loved it.
it was great, right?
I haven't heard it, but it's really good, I'm sure.
So how are you, JJ?
Sure. I'm COVID free.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, gonna stay that way. Yeah.
I like to hear that. Us as
Just
well.
been,
Thank
doing
God.
some VOs and a little woodworking, and my wife is out of town. We just had a yesterday at 11:15 a.m. Noah Joseph Casanova was born.
Oh,
The
congratulations.
first grandchild boy on Janine's side, her
Aw,
oldest son.
nice.
That's their second child, and he's happy and healthy, and they're coming home in about an hour to their house in Columbus.
Very
Ohio.
nice. Very nice.
So Janine's up there watching the 4-year-old and working and stuff like that. Yeah.
Very nice. So there was something you wanted to talk about, right? As far as handling, with sessions, moods, or what was it?
Yeah,
Did something happen? Like, is that what made you think of it?
A little. I don't want to, because I really, but I was working, and then I got the feeling that it wasn't being taken seriously.
Talking about?
Well, it was a little thing that I was doing with somebody, online.
You're being very vague.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
There was something you were doing online, yes.
Yeah. And I just kind of got the feeling that it was not serious enough. And, I am certainly not Mr. Serious, but when I'm in a session,
Yes.
or I'm doing an audition for people and they're on the horn, or if I'm taking a lesson from somebody,
Yes.
or a workout from somebody, I don't make it seem like,
Like you're...
you can't do that.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay.
Yeah.
So-
I'm trying to be very vague.
Well,
But
attitude is everything.
attitude is so much, because soon as I started to feel that, or a producer or anything else, they're going to go, hey, man, I'm paying you for this.
Right.
And they don't want to know if you're sick or anything else.
No.
It's just, that's showbiz is something that you really have to live by if you want to do this business full time.
Yes.
You really can't miss, and you really can't ever let anybody know that anything is wrong, even if your mother's died that morning.
You have to hide your weaknesses.
Yes. Yes.
Not that you're dealing with a mortal enemy, but the client needs to constantly view you as if you are at your best when you are with them.
That's right.
And that's all
And
they
they-
care about.
And that they can count on you no matter what time of day.
Right.
I once had a producer that I worked with for many years. She called at like 8:30 at night and said, oh, my God, we got an emergency, da-da-da-da, and I did it and sent it. And she said, that's what I love about working with you. Whether it's 9 o'clock in the morning or 8 o'clock at night, your energy level and your enthusiasm and your professionalism are exactly the same.
Yeah.
No matter when, when you're on, you're on.
Right.
And, having had to do, it was 9 days after my open heart surgery, I got 160s to record.
Oh, I remember that. Mm-hmm.
I couldn't even get off the couch. Janine brought me up in a wheelbarrow to the studio, and she said, sit down. And I went, I don't think I can. And it really hurt. It really hurt. So I just started with 3. The next day I did 5. Then I did 10. And by the end of the week, they were done.
Right.
And everybody knew that had happened to me. And he said, I cannot believe you got these done.
Right.
And I went, well, this is how I make my living. And if I don't do it, I'm not going to get money.
Well, you were also kind of touching on that whole attitude that sometimes people have about themselves where they beat themselves up too much. And you're trying to work with them, but they're too tough on themselves. So they're constantly like doubting.
Yes, which gets in the way of us getting our points across.
Right. But I have been on the receiving end of that. It happened a long time ago. I learned my lesson. I went in for an audition, and I'm with this like huge casting director, and I'm sitting there going, "Oh no, I didn't like that take. Let me try that again." And she got really pissed off, and and she says, "If you hadn't started talking at the end of that, it would have been perfect." And she was, she was so pissed. And I felt very embarrassed because like, oh my God. And she's like, stop, just do another one. And at that point I was like, oh, wow, I need to stop self-critiquing and judging and let the casting director, agent, client, coach be the guide.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a law I live by. Never stop. Even if you make a mistake, keep going. Mm-hmm. Because they could be loving it. Even if you do something like you just said, like, oh my God, this sounds terrible.
Yeah.
They're loving the crap out of it.
Yeah.
So whatever you do when you're working with somebody, do not stop.
Right.
And go, oh God, I'm sorry I made a mistake. No. Just
right.
Get a clean open and keep going.
Right.
And make sure there's not more than a second or two between the mistake and where you keep going. Because as we both know that you never know which take they're going to like.
Also, commit. If you've decided, all right, I'm going to go into this spot, commit to the end. Stay consistent and commit. And don't stop. It's the same concept. But you got to commit if it's a character key. And we've given you a character key. Go all in and just commit all the way to the end. We're not sitting there listening to you going, oh my God, you sound terrible. Instead, we're like entertained because you committed.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I never ever feel that way about reads that we have during the classes and the workouts. I'm always, when it starts to get better, I actually get excited. I'm going, yes. And I think probably they can hear me because I say it out loud. And I shouldn't, but I do.
Yeah.
But yeah, once you give them a whole bunch of direction, and sometimes I tend to give a lot in one fell swoop, but when they can follow it all and really nail the read on the next one, I'm excited about it. I mean, it's good. It's good. You got it. It's cool.
But that level of confidence that you have to maintain when you book a job, when you audition for a job, I don't care if you are feeling like you wake up in the morning and you're like, oh, I'm the biggest loser on the planet. This is why we're actors. You need to act like you are feeling fantastic. I've had a cold on and off for the last 10 days. None of my clients
you've been complaining about it over and over and over again.
But the big difference, I'm not complaining to my clients.
Right, exactly.
They don't know.
Can you hang on? I got to call all your clients. Yeah, this is JJ. Yeah, Linda.
She's been working with a cold.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that also goes for what was I going to say?
Medication.
Medication. That's what I was going to say. I need more What were you talking about before we talked about this?
Confidence levels.
Confidence level. Just now, medication.
You wake up in the morning, you don't feel well, doesn't matter. You need to, if you think you're a big loser, don't stop in the middle of a read. Don't stop in the middle of an audition.
Right, okay, yes. Which brings me to my point, and if you can do the session and sound pretty good, if you've got a really hoarse voice or something like that, but you think you can get by, and it's a client then give it a shot. And
Yeah.
don't say anything. You might have to. They'll go, wait a minute, what's wrong with your voice? Well, I got a little bit of a cold, but I think I can talk over
Yeah.
it and make it work for you.
But don't draw
Because
attention to it.
Yeah, but if you say no, I can't, and you haven't tried, then you never know what you're going to lose.
True.
And I mean, geez, a couple of times I've been in situations like that where I booked a thing and I'm still doing it 9 years later.
Right.
And I just look back and go, God, suppose I'd said no. And then I start adding up all this stuff. Wow! I'm glad I did that while I was sick. I actually did go to the hospital once when I got done.
Really?
Yeah, I was so dehydrated from having 103 fever for 3 days that I got done with this new account. And it was a couple hours long, and my heart went out of rhythm, and it was just like, okay, you're done. So, but, I'm still doing that account today, so I'm really glad I said yes. So it's just important to have the right attitude it's just like any job. You don't want to go in and go, hey, good morning to your boss, hi, you,
Didn't you yes. I think, was it last year or whatever, we were doing an online coaching workout, and you didn't tell me that you had a fever of 100 degrees or something, and you did it regardless.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Because
you were I don't want to cancel on everybody.
Yeah. But that's this, because this is what I love and this is what I do, and you got to do it.
You committed.
I don't want to let the people down. They look forward to their classes and the workouts, and frankly, so do I.
Yeah.
We have a lot of fun.
But
we had a whole new group last Wednesday.
Yeah, we did. It
Pretty
was
much.
Really cool.
And I think the response was overwhelming.
It was good.
I want you to hear the H in whelming.
Whelming.
But I think actually that people sometimes in our classes, when they get done, are surprised.
Yeah.
At just how non-invasive we are, but we still get our point across, and they really learn a lot. At the end, they go, wow, that was really fun, and I really learned a lot.
The other aspect, too, that we get comments on is the level of support that everybody gives each other for the reads. I mean, people will applaud you,
Yes.
if you did something great or took the coaching right, and everybody is completely supportive, and it's very cohesive. The last workout was extremely cohesive with a lot of great personalities.
Yes, many different ones, and it brings me back again to, a couple of them read the same script, and it was, I loved, we finally got the first person to get to the script where I loved it, and then a second one wanted to read it, and I always go, oh, God, how are we going to top that? And then it's a completely different read, which was even better than the one before it. And you go, oh, that's cool. I like that way.
Yeah, this is amazing.
It's really, I really do learn from these.
Yeah.
I really, really do.
They're great.
So it's fun. It's fun. But that's what I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
That's just what I wanted to say.
So it's a general confidence level that you need to exude to everyone in the business because, you know what, there's just too much competition.
Linda, I don't think you can say exude on the radio.
Exude?
No.
Or in a podcast?
Oh, on a podcast.
Yes.
Okay, then you can get away with it.
But, there's just too much competition of too many people that are vying for jobs that if you get labeled as the person who's the whiner or the complainer or the down on themselves all the time, forget it. You won't get hired again.
Yeah. Remember the days when it was just me and you and Daryl and Dave and Connie and we were doing every spot that there ever was?
Well, you guys were. I was too young at that point.
That's true.
I hadn't really started my... Yeah. I wanted to ask you a question. At what point, because I know you started very young, though, was there a point in your career when you suddenly went, whoa, I've really made it as a voice actor? Was it a particular job or...
Yes, it was probably about 4 or 5 months after, because I had been working at a couple of radio stations. They were all combined, and I was doing production for 3 years, and I wrote and produced and voiced and, did all the production for 3 years for 3 stations, and I figured I did over 3,000 spots.
Wow.
And that was my practice, I guess, and that's when I started to book jobs at studios. Somebody would say, hey, I really like what you did for, that radio station. Can you come here and do me a version for TV? And I went, well, sure. And so I asked my boss, I said, do you mind if I'll be back in an hour? And he said, no, go ahead. About 4 or 5 months later, it got to the point where I was just, I just all of a sudden, I guess word spread because it really was a different world back then.
Yeah.
Connie would say something and, the guy at the studio, there's only 5 studios there that we worked at.
It was a tight,
and
close-knit.
one word of mouth traveled. And one day I got a call from Scott Pringle, who is he's just a most wonderful man and a tremendous production guy, just tremendous. But he called me one day and he said, yeah, can you come down real quick? And I lived in Lauderdale. This was on Miami Beach. And I said, yeah, sure. I said, what's going on? He said, yeah, I think they want you to be the voice of Pizza Hut. And I went, what? She said, yeah, the guy they got now, they just, So I went down and did that. And I walked out of there like, holy crap, did I just make a lot of money? And by the time I got home, Scott called again and said, can you come back down? The guy who's doing Ford is pissing everybody off. And they want you to do Ford. In one day, I got $100,000 worth of accounts.
Wow.
And that was in 1989.
Wow.
And I said to myself, yep, I'm doing okay. And then I got the Star newspaper, Reach for a Star. I don't know if you remember those.
No.
But those were nationals, and it was just, but like I say, it was a different world then. There was only 8 people to call, and if they were busy, they called me or vice versa.
So what do you think is the least amount of work you've done for the most amount of money?
Probably the, well, there was a bank tag. I did a bank spot with Sophia. No, it was something in Williams Island. That's what it was. Mm-hmm. And Sophia Loren was the main voice of the read. She came in with her entourage. Mm. And then I had to say, I don't know, 4 or 5 words. I don't know what it was. Call now. Williamson Island, whatever. Mm-hmm. But she did one read, and everybody's like, "Oh wow,
you're
that
amazing,
was fantastic!" I did mine, I think, 27 times, and when I finally got done, I went, "What? No applause?" Sophia Loren looked at me and went like this. Oh, that was very nice. Yes. Oh. But that ran, I think, for 4 years, and I got a check for I don't know how much every quarter.
Wow.
And then there was the Wagner spots that I did now 4 years ago. And it was 4 quick spots, just the last 15 seconds a copy, funniest spots I've ever done. I did 4 of them. They all applauded when I got done. And every year they renew.
Oh, that's so sweet.
It's just, so that's definitely one of them. Mm-hmm. But, back in the day when my father was working, when there was still a lot of Class A spots, he would go in and read a Campbell's soup and go, good. And Christ, it paid for our house in New York, in Westchester County back then. It was, and Connie would talk about that. She said, "Wow, just got to check because I sang the jingle and did the voiceover in the same spot." And I went, "Wow."
Yeah, getting stuff like that right now is like winning the lottery.
Yeah, you got to live in one of the big 3 or 4, and you really have to have a big agent. And I'm just as happy being I consider myself the middle guy. Mm-hmm. We do our thing. We're sort of well known, but not so well known that we get burnt out.
Right.
I think we're comfortable, and I love it.
I think for me, when I moved to New York, it was a struggle. Obviously, a lot of auditioning, a lot of booking a great job and then not booking for many months, and the reality, always living in that fear of, oh my God, I'm never going to work again. But
why do you think I take medication
right
now?
So you get this great job and then you lose it, and I was getting used to that. And then during that time, I wound up becoming the voice of the Learning Channel, TLC. Mm-hmm. So I'm voicing for them, going into a studio in Midtown, and I remember walking into the studio, and who's walking out but James Earl Jones. Ah. And I look at him, and I think to myself, I feel like I've accomplished whatever it is. I am about to work in the same studio that he just worked in, doing voiceovers. And that was one of my moments where I was like, wow, I feel Like I've succeeded in some way, shape, or form for what I want to do.
I can't think of his name, but he's the greatest narrator of all time. I think he did. He was also a friend of Scott Pringle's and my father's, but he was just. And then, not crime stories, but the stuff on PBS he did for years and years and years and years.
Peter Thomas.
Peter Thomas.
Yes.
Very good.
Yes.
I went to my third audition after I went up to New York for a while just to try the circuit. And I was sitting in the waiting room, and there was a gentleman across from me. And he said, "Who are you? I haven't seen your face before." And I went, "Oh, my God, wait a minute, I know that voice." I said, "Well, my name is J.G. Wilson." I was 27, whatever.
Yeah.
And he said, "Oh, my God, I'm friends with your dad. We used to ride the train together." And I'm going, "Okay, who are you?" He said, "I'm Peter Thomas." And I went, "Oh." And I stood up and I handed him my copy and I left.
Yeah, that's what you do with Peter Thomas.
Yes. So I came back in and he laughed and he said, "Boy, you're just like your father, aren't you?" And I went, "Yes." But I told him how much I admired his work. And that's when I knew, really, I was going, "Hey, look who I'm sitting with here.
Right.
I don't have a prayer of booking this, but I don't care."
Yeah, he was really nice. I met him when he lived in
what
Naples.
a wonderful man. Mm-hmm. What a wonderful man.
He introduced me to one of his agents who promptly said, "Yeah, you're not good enough for the agency, but thanks for submitting." So
that's nice.
I
love that when they say that. We already have a voice that sounds just like you. No,
Right.
You don't. No, you don't.
But if I were to calculate amount of time to spent on a voiceover with the revenue, and this was back again with residuals, just like you're talking about.
Yes, and union times.
Right.
Yeah.
I probably spent 30 minutes in a session for a national gum, and I made like $46,000.
Yes.
And it's like 30 minutes, 46 grand. Where the hell is that now? I mean,
I
why
know.
can't we have those jobs now? Come
Now it's
flying.
56 takes of a 60, and then they say, "Can we do one more now that you're warmed up for $200?"
Exactly. But
The
these
good
are the
old
moments.
days are gone. These are the moments, and it's still fun, and it's still possible to make some very nice money doing this.
But what's crazy is that
And-
you can have these amazing peaks. You're working in the
Yes.
same studio as somebody really famous and accomplished, and then you go on a dry spell and you're like, "I'm the biggest loser that ever walked the earth."
Yeah. Back then, we used to start beeping ourselves.
Yeah.
I would. I'd make sure my beeper was working. I'm like, "What's going on? It's been 2 days. What's happening here?"
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah.
It's true.
It's tough on the old noggin, this job, and tough on the heart.
The ego.
Because like you said a couple of minutes ago, they come, they go.
Yes.
And, I was telling you about Ford, and then one night I was sitting at dinner after 2 years of this account, and we were just eating dinner, my wife and I, and all of a sudden there was somebody else doing Ford. And I just went, "Well, there goes that one." And they don't call and say, "Gee, it's been great working with you, and you never missed, and God, No, just new voice, and that was it.
I had the conversation with the new higher ups at HSN when it was the first week of January. "Linda, we have to have a phone call." It was like, "Oh, here we go." The writing's on the wall, and you get that. "Thanks so much for everything you've done for us. It's been a pleasure, but we're going in a different direction." And you're like, "Okay, have a nice day. I'm gonna go start drinking and start crying and go through my mourning process," because you have to feel the loss. You have that monthly
You have to.
income.
Yep.
And then you have to feel the fear of like, "Oh my God, I'm never going to make money again." Yes. And it's like this roller coaster of emotions. So people, you want to do voiceovers? We're just giving it to you real. That we've had amazing success, but also we've felt the shit that also happens when you don't work.
Oh, boy. When the union went on strike, I lost everything.
Yeah.
Everything. I went from making a ton of money to absolutely nothing because I couldn't work.
Wow.
And that was for 9 months.
Oh my God.
And, I went from shopping at Macy's to the secondhand store with my 2 kids because I was raising them all by myself. "Daddy, this isn't Macy's." "I know, just don't touch anything."
Yeah.
But then I had to kind of reintroduce myself into a new world. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah. But it's still fun. It's still fun, no matter what, after all these years. And I'm going to be older soon. So, yeah.
Don't get sad.
Now I get all the insurance spots. "Do you need a copay for Medicare?"
Your voice is perfect.
"Thank you." Yeah.
That's okay.
I don't
Hey, at
get
least
that.
you're still getting spots.
Yes.
You
Well,
work
I'm
a
getting
lot.
age spots is what I'm getting. There's one here. There's one here. I've got two here.
You work
If you
a
join
lot,
them all together,
so-
it looks like a what?
You work a lot. I don't want to hear your
No,
sub story.
I'm very fortunate. I am very fortunate.
I just
So,
want people
yes.
to realize that when they say that it is a journey, this truly is a journey, because you never get to that point where you're like, I made it, and then that's it. It's a continual grind. You
You
continually
have to keep making it
yeah, and you're
because somebody is always going to be right behind you who just made it.
Right.
And you're not the big guy who just made it anymore. They are. So
Right.
now you have to make it again, and it's constant. But yeah.
and continue.
But professionalism is so big.
Yeah,
It's just, no matter what they ask, if you're in a session, just say yes. Mm-hmm. And fake your way through it. And 99 million times out of 1,100,000, they'll go, oh, that was great. That was better. Just as like I said. And I'm going, I didn't do anything, but okay.
right. The same holds true with your relationship with an agent.
Yes.
The agent calls you, call back. The agent needs avails from you, promptly give those avails.
Yes. Yeah, don't wait till the next day.
Right. And you have to place such a high importance on it, because then,
That's a
as
very good point. I'm glad
agents
you
have
brought that
said
up.
to me, oh, Linda, we love working with you. You're so easy to work with. And I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
And it's just responding. Just respond. It's not that hard.
No. And same thing with auditions. As soon as they come in, if I'm home, I'm in here doing them. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't care what time it is. I don't care what day it is. If they send them on a Friday night at 9 o'clock, I'll get up Saturday morning and do it.
Yeah.
Channel 7 sent me something, I don't know, 9 o'clock Friday night and said, client changed a line. Could I have it first thing Monday morning? So I did it yesterday. So it's in their mailbox this morning.
Yeah, I do the same thing. Mm-hmm.
That's just how you have to do it.
I was going to say to you,
Want some medication?
yeah, I know. My mind is like all over the place. The efficiency factor of being on top of what is asked of you, but it was regarding to auditions, I believe, because you were talking about how you turn things around really quickly.
Yes.
I'm trying to jog the memory. Oh, it stinks turning 50. I know, you're
I
older
don't
than
even
me.
remember that.
You're older than me. It's like shiny thing here, and then I get distracted of something else you're saying. I'm like, okay, there it went. I don't know what the thing was.
Look, a Matchbox car.
I know exactly what I was going to say. Okay, and I'm gathering that it still happens with some agents, but some agents limit the people that they submit. So
Exactly.
if you're getting called, chances are you're in that top 10, top 5. So because then they compile a reel, casting directors do the same thing. They compile this reel all nice and neat for their clients, or in this case, however they organize it for their client to listen to easily. So
Right.
if you get called for an audition, A, your agent really believes in you because, and B, it's not like they're calling 500 people, so you have to keep that into consideration. I had gotten notices from my New York agent. Sometimes they'd email me something and it would say, only send us your top 5 female talent. And I'd be like, oh, cool, I'm in the top 5. So that you have to take into consideration once you get an agent.
Yep. That happened to me once, but I came in 6th. I don't know what happened. It was just, that was a bad day. It was a bad day.
But on voices.com, you said whenever you'd come in 6th, you would book the job.
Yeah, well, that's true. I can't ever figure anything out anymore. I just
Not
go with
first.
the flow. No.
Not second.
Half the time you book the job and then you get there and they don't want the read you gave them for the audition anyway. So What? Okay.
Well, let me tell you, casting can be so errant. So I have a client that had sent over a medical type of narration. And I read for it. JJ
Yes.
read for it.
Yes.
And neither one of us was selected. And so the client asked me, and she said, could you reach out to a few more of your friends? So because I have some students, we all have students, I thought of a few that have really, they've got some natural ability and they've worked really hard. And so I submitted one of my students, Lisa, another one, Ryan. I submitted Dave, and a few other people. And they wound up picking Lisa. And Lisa is a middle-aged Black woman. And it was the read was completely different from what you and I had initially been told to do.
Right.
Because the client changed their mind midway, and then
Exactly.
then this production company had to reshoot and reimagine the video itself.
Right. Cost them a fortune, I'll bet.
Yeah, and they were like, hey, just send us who you think. And it turned out to be Lisa's gig. So Friday night, because she doesn't even have a studio yet, she came here from her first job. We were here till 7:00 recording her first ever voiceover job. And it was so exciting for her.
So remember that
for
when
me.
you take classes and come to workouts, if we like you and get asked for somebody, you might get recommended.
Exactly. I may submit you.
Yes.
JJ may submit you.
Yes,
And she booked her first job. And she was
That's awesome.
floating as she was walking out. She says to me, well, so next week you'll get an answer on it? I go, no, honey, you're getting paid. This is it.
Yeah.
She's like, really? And I said, yes. Congratulations. You have your first voiceover job.
You did a $15 voiceover. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. A little joke. 15er.com.
15er.com. Okay.
That's all right. I'm going to one-up that company, and I'm going to go 4.95.com. There you go. You get the 0.95, I get 4. We're all good to go.
Well, JJ, as always, a
16
pleasure.
Yes. Thank you, she said, hinting to JJ that we're done. Good, because I got to go tinkle anyway.
Yeah, so do I. What a coincidence.
That was a good conversation.
Yeah, some important things we wanted to relay.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll see everybody at a workout. This will probably air after our last workout in December, but January, we will have our dates posted. Join us, please, because we have a great time.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Yeah.
And it's a real fun learning. Yeah. So we have class this Wednesday, or no, last Wednesday, because this will air after.
Yeah, this will air
2
next week,
Wednesdays
which
ago.
is so you'll be saying it was last Wednesday. Last Wednesday's
There's a
class was
time-
great.
There's a time travel meeting coming up. It's last Thursday, so I'll meet you there.
We will have workouts in January. Just if you have any questions, anything you want to talk about for the podcast, you can email us at info@voiceover.guru or linda@voiceover.guru. Review us. We've been getting some nice reviews. We love that.
Yes, and I love personal questions, so go ahead.
Ask away for JJ. But thank you so much for joining us. This is the Voiceover Gurus podcast. Thank you, JJ.
Thank you, Linda. Ta-ta. Bye-bye. See you. Bye-bye.